Top of the morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you guys are in the world, salute. It is time to wake up, get up, and get amplified. Now this is going to be a tricky Monday Night Raw review to go over. Tricky because there was actually a lot of positives coming out of last night's show. And that's not something we can always say if you're a tried and true member of this channel. If you've followed this channel religiously over the 5+ years that I've been creating content, we don't usually get shows where we have a lot of positives to talk about. This is one of those shows where we get to do that. So on the surface, you say, well, BC, you're talking about a lot of positives that we are going to go over and discuss. This must have been a good show. Not so fast. If you gauge the general consensus of the audience, much of the wrestling world was not turned on by this show. Much of the audience is saying this was actually a boring show, going as far to say it was a bad show. This show just didn't land. Triple H, this ain't it. You're seeing all these type of responses from a lot of fans. This show just didn't land for them. That's why I say this is tricky, because I totally see where they're coming from. The way it was laid out, it was a long 3 hours. But damn, a lot of positives. That's why this is going to, no matter how tricky this review is going to be, you damn better bet BC is going to spend as long as it takes. It's probably going to take at least an hour to go over this, because I got a lot to say. Because no matter how tricky it is, every match, every segment, BC is going to break down, dissect, and we are going to discuss. How does a show like this happen, where you have positives, but the show as a whole, a lot of fans are saying wasn't that good, not even good at all? How does that happen? Well, platoon of reasons, right? There's just certain matches where fans are not going to want to see for more than 10, especially 15 minutes, where there were several matches last night that went above and beyond that. Charlotte, North Carolina was asleep from the opening bell and they never woke up. The crowd was completely out of it last night. It's just one of those crowds that does not want to see Karl Anderson wrestle for 16 minutes. I get it. I like Gallows and Anderson, but I get that certain crowds are not going to want to watch that. A lot of people on TV might not want to watch a Karl Anderson 16-minute match. So then you're going to rely on comedy, right? R-Truth comes out, tries to supply some comedy with Johnny Gargano. But if you're going to do that, if you have a crowd that already doesn't want to watch long wrestling matches, then you're going to rely solely on your comedy. And if your comedy does not land, you're in deep waters. And last night, Triple H, Paul Levesque was in deep waters because the comedy did not land with Charlotte, North Carolina. It was going to take more than the R-Truth macaroni and cheese segment or Johnny Gargano blowing his whistle. We at home, we got the funny shit, right? We got the comedy. We got to hear Kevin Patrick on commentary. That's hilarious. Calling Deep Six, Baron Corbin's move, the Deep Six, ring around the rosies, he called it. And from there, Corey Graves and JBL proceeded to annihilate this dude. Where did you do commentary? Sesame Street? Kevin Patrick, that's comedy. We got that at home, so we got to LOL. We got the backstage segment with Gallows, talking about how he's going to go and handle Rhea Ripley. This is backstage, while Anderson has a ice pack on his fucking balls, because Rhea Ripley gave him a fucking nut shot. And so Gallows says in the trainer's room, I'm going to go take care of Ripley. Styles looks at Gallows and says, what are you going to do? You just got body slammed by her. He's like, body slamming is my love something. I don't know what he said, man. What did Gallows say? Hold on, it was hilarious. Gallows says, oh, come on, man. I got this. Hold on. Give me a second. This is too funny, man. I got to put this in the cold open. Body slams are my love language, he says. And he says, I'm going to go take care of Rhea. So we go to commercial. We come back. Gallows comes back into the trainer's room, and he's holding his fucking his sack. And AJ goes, She got you too? And Gallows says, she got me too. He sits down next to Anderson, steals his fucking ice pack, puts it on his balls, man. It was just, Gallows is just a gem. Comedy gold. Gallows is amazing. So we got some comedy, man, but Charlotte, North Carolina, not so much. So they weren't turned on by the wrestling last night. They weren't turned on by the comedy, and Charlotte, North Carolina was just turned off. They were put to sleep. Now, a lot of times when that happens, most times, we at home are now going to feed off of that energy or lack thereof. In this case, there was the lack thereof category, and fans at home were just disinterested. Because all in all, you look at the card, it's not that bad. Elias and Chad Gable is not bad. Karl Anderson, Finn Balor, former BC members, not bad. Bayley and Bianca, main event, obviously not bad. So, you know, you had certain things, but when you also don't have a Kevin Owens, when you don't have an Edge, when you don't see Asuka, when you don't see even Alexa, when you don't see these individuals, there is no Brock, there's no even Bobby. You know, you're missing a lot of people. And so now you're just stressing to try to find star power, star quality that you can present to your live audience. And it just failed to do such for a lot of people last night. So I totally get it for those going, oh man, this was not good, BC. I don't know how you found positives. Well, I'll tell you how I found positives. I'll tell you exactly how I found positives after I take a nice swig of fucking Dunkin' Donuts extra coffee. Double shot. Salute to everybody, by the way, because this may take a minute. I got a lot to say. But the positives are, I mean, look at, okay, you take something like that didn't land maybe, like the R-Truth comedy, okay? R-Truth was at least given another opportunity to do something other than chase around a Target Toy Championship like Dana Brooks' 24/7 title. That's all we've seen R-Truth do for the past couple of years. It was so cool to see R-Truth look like R-Truth again. Whether you like the comedy and the rapping and all that, doesn't matter. R-Truth was finally given something that didn't involve running around a ring, chasing somebody. Now, he's still winning matches the only way he knows how, via the fruit roll-up. He did the same thing last night. We'll go over that. But it was cool that the 24/7 title was not associated with R-Truth last night. A positive. Maybe it's a step, right? If R-Truth is going to be there for a few more years even, I mean, can we try to give him one valid run before his career is done? Would it work? I don't know, but it's at least worth the attempt. R-Truth is a good dude. He's loyal. He's been there for everything WWE has asked him to do. And it's cool that he had something new last night. Positive, right? Let's look at the women. The women, absolutely. What a big night for them. Huge. With Rhea Ripley body slamming Gallows. That's a moment that is going to be in her highlight reel forever, guys. To the end of time. When they speak about Rhea Ripley, that's going to be in their highlight reel. That may not seem so big to you. That may be, to a lot of you, going, BC, you're exaggerating just a little bit, man. No, I'm not. This is going to be in her highlight reel. And this kick-started the world talking about Rhea Ripley. What a difference a little bit of time, a little bit of patience, some really good booking can do for an individual. Rhea Ripley is one of those people we were talking about. She looked like she just bounced out of Hot Topic in the mall right before it was about to close. She's calling up her parents to hitch a ride back home. I mean, nobody was taking Rhea Ripley seriously on the main roster. We know she's powerful. We know she could be something. Saw shades of that in NXT. But the way that she was on the main roster, it was nothing. And it was going to take something monumental to make fans give a fuck about Rhea Ripley. Well, they took a gamble, a massive chance, put her in this group of Judgment Day. And then they started to give Judgment Day some proper booking. They made Judgment Day feel like a real faction/family. And they made them feel important. Starting the show, the music hitting, the spotlight finally goes on them. All four of them shoulder to shoulder, looking badass. I mean, man, there's a different vibe now compared to even a month ago with Judgment Day. Like, BC watches Judgment Day today, and I'm like, fuck yeah, they're cool. And then you see Rhea Ripley, and she's just taken on a life of her own. I mean, she is becoming dominant, more so by the day, by the hour. Just 2-3 months ago, you would have never had majority of the fan base even think that was fathomable, the way the booking was, even for Judgment Day as a whole. Rhea Ripley right now is on cloud 9. Bayley and Bianca getting a 25-minute main event, the entire last half an hour, wrestling-wise around 25 minutes. Bianca and Bayley absolutely shredding it up. Now, yes, it's on TV, so we got 3 or 4 commercial breaks during this shit. Breaks it up, makes it a little less prestigious, I understand. But the match, Maron, are you serious? As Mauro Ranallo would say, Mamma Mia! Or just my nani, Maron. But either way, man, that match, when Bayley went for the KOD and it was reversed into the Bayley to belly by Bianca to Bayley. What? Sasha Banks' bank statement set up on by Bayley. What? Are you kidding me, man? Bianca showing homage to Naomi with that over-the-top rope crossbody. Come on, man. I mean, so much good stuff. And in the end, Nikki Cross, not Nikki Ash. Nikki Cross hits the ring, levels everybody. And so good, so great that Paul Levesque is allowing Ash to be Cross again. I think most of us we cringed when we even said Nikki Ash. Nikki Cross, that just out of the box, loony type character. You never know her next move. She probably doesn't even know it, but you know it's going to be fun. That's the one we loved in NXT. It's what could have been something special on the main roster. It was dropped fairly quickly. And then next thing you know, she's wearing a mask, and the way she tells the story is she felt she had to come up with something totally different because she thought she was going to be released. That's sad. And here we are. Nikki Cross is back. And there's still fans complaining about, that was her return, that was it. Fans going, I would have done X, Y, and Z different, or who cares, it's just Nikki Cross. This is what we've been clamoring for, man. Would you rather Ash or Cross? Cross done correctly, by the way, which is what we hope happens going forward. I mean, this is what we all wanted. Now's not the time to be fickle. It's the same thing with Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan climbs up the ladder, grabs the Money in the Bank briefcase, comes down with it, cashes in, becomes champion. This is what we've been saying Liv Morgan deserved for 2 fucking years. She finally gets it. A month later, people are turning their backs on her and booing her and saying she just doesn't have it. It's a boring title reign, and she needs to just drop the title. Some fans, they're just never happy. And I know that's interesting coming from BC, which seems like I'm always harping on everything, but I run a podcast about wrestling, and wrestling's been pretty not so good for the past 5 years plus. So my complaints, my frustrations, my rants are all justified. But I don't just nitpick just to nitpick, right? I hate fickleness. I'll pull the positives on it out of any segment if you just allow me, present them to me, and allow me to discuss them. But if you don't give me anything, I can't discuss anything positive. This, easy. Nikki Cross beat the shit out of everybody. This is Nikki Cross. Hopefully this continues. I like the fact that they left it in the air. Is she a heel? Is she a face? Or is she just fucking crazy? Option C, check. And it leaves the door open for Paul Levesque to really gauge the response on which way he needs to go with her. It was a good out for Bianca and Bayley as well. Bianca gets pinned. I know that sucks. But there's no way Damage Control can eat L's. Bayley had a 37% winning percentage going into that match. 37%. She was 6 of 16 in terms of win-loss. That's not good. Bayley had to win that. I understand I hate champions losing. This just leads to another championship, another match between the two. I get all of the bad shit. Trust me. But after that huge tag team victory with Damage Control on, Friday night? Raquel and Shotzi, I think that was Friday night. Huge for Io and Dakota. This was massive for Bayley. It's time to make Damage Control actually a legit badass faction and not just have the only damage that needs to be controlled, Damage Control. Because they were starting to look like clowns for a while there. Their highest peak was actually their debut at SummerSlam. Now they're picking up big W's. Now they're working cohesively. Now they're looking legit. Like La Familia. They're really looking like a faction that we could give a shit about because they are taking themselves seriously. Backstage beating the shit out of Candice LeRae. Throwing down the cameraman in the camera so we don't even see the beatdown on Candice LeRae. Little things like that are massive in the grand scheme of it all. So whether it's Rhea Ripley, whether it's Nikki Cross, whether it's Bianca and Bayley in their huge main event with lots of time given, the women and Candice LeRae in that beatdown, man. Candice finally has something to sink her teeth into on the main roster, not just having random matches. The women, absolutely, the spotlight was on them. Levesque took a huge gamble with them. Maybe that's why a big portion of the crowd also just didn't like this show, man. You know, here in the U.S., man, for some reason, women's wrestling doesn't resonate. And it's sad because we're in a time where women's wrestling should be on a whole nother pedestal because there's so many really good wrestlers that check off a lot of boxes. But the promoters, Vince McMahon and Tony Khan especially, they just don't know how to book them. Paul Levesque does. Paul Levesque, ever since he took over on the main roster, he's just been kind of jagged. It's been a roller coaster with how he's booked the women. Last night, I actually liked it. But again, it doesn't resonate too much in the U.S. women's wrestling, and I really do hope that changes because they deserve the attention and the respect of everybody because they're earning it. So there was positives last night, and again, man, I can't give more props for the booking of people like Judgment Day and how they're being utilized now. The women, how a lot of them, how they're being utilized. R-Truth finally getting a chance to be something different. Elias dropping this fucking stupid Ezekiel shit and being Elias again. I wish he changed his theme music. I don't know how I feel about the face Elias, and he's going to have to get much better booking than what he had with McMahon. But there's potential in Elias, and at least this is a start, maybe. So, there's a lot to go over, man. We're going to start from the jump. Let me get another big swig. Salute to everybody again, man. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support on the videos that we put up over the last 72 hours especially. I know the tube is not spitting out these vids. The last couple of weeks, they've been really weird with putting these vids into subscription boxes and just really pumping them out, promoting them in general. So I'm hoping you guys are getting the majority of the videos anyway, because the tube has been all haywire and it's not pumping out there. That's why I say, man, smash that up if you don't mind, because that'll help out the algorithm, because you can't count on the tube to help out BC and the channel and the unit. So you guys can help smash that up, and we can continue to pump these out. So much love and respect to all you guys. And now we start off another whole week of content, and it's going to be a big week, man. The next couple weeks leading into Crown Jewel, man, I got a lot planned. So Judgment Day starts this show, Monday Night Raw, 10/24/22. You talk atmosphere, you talk reception, you talk just like people finally giving it, like standing up and kind of being a little bit in awe, like, yeah, all right. That's Judgment Day now. It's really cool. The music hits, it's pitch dark, and then the spotlight comes on and they're all shoulder to shoulder. It's so cool to see. They really believe their own shit now, their own hype, you know? They got a different swagger to them. And I love that, man. That was not there even a month ago. A couple of weeks ago, it wasn't even there. I started to notice it about a week ago. I saw it on NXT. What was it? Was that 2 weeks ago? Maybe it was 2 weeks, so maybe a couple weeks ago. But I saw that when they went to NXT, the response was like a major superstar just showed up. And it looks like that's what they may become if they continue to have proper booking. They're going to be major, man. Finn already should have been. He was a couple of times, and then his booking just brought him back to irrelevancy. Damian Priest, still kind of young, so this is good for him. Rhea Ripley, the same thing, and of course Dominic. So aside from Finn Balor, I mean, yeah, you got some young up-and-comers that are getting the spotlight in the right way. And for Finn, it's really good to see, too, leading this group. I don't know. Judgment Day is just clicking for BC. I don't know how it feels for you guys. Maybe this was just another boring segment for you guys. I don't know. But Judgment Day alone, seeing them, feels much more badass. Rhea, Finn, and Damian pumped up Dominic Mysterio so much on the microphone. Pumping him up to be the new legendary Mysterio, the new legendary luchador. The fans are like, nah, fuck that. They were booing Dominic out of the building. And by the time Dominic took the mic, he was immediately just loudly just booed. If not out of the arena, out of the ring, man, out of sight. They were booing the shit out of Dominic. This kid is generating some immaculate heel heat. Immaculate heel heat. And when he started flapping his gums, he became even more disliked. Because this dude said, and I quote, "I'm like this generation's Eddie Guerrero." And then he said, no, check that. I'm Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero was his generation's Dominic, he said. So he said, I'm like this generation's version of Eddie Guerrero. No, check that. Eddie was his generation's me, Dominic Mysterio. I'm like, he did not, bro. Tell me he didn't just say that. Tapped into my Booker T on that one. But no, he did, man. He said that, and that just created even more boos. This very naturally generated, very organic heel heat that he has created, and the rest of Judgment Day is creating for him, because Finn, Damian, and Rhea spent 2.5 minutes before Dominic got on the mic really hyping this dude up to be a prick, and it worked. So you got to give all of them credit for making Dominic so disliked. So that is awesome. You could not have planned that any better for his ride in Judgment Day thus far. The OC ends up hitting the ring. We set up the opening contest, which was Finn Balor versus Karl Anderson. They gave these former BC members a full 15 minutes, near 16 minutes to perform. With all of the individuals around ringside, this finish could have went a million different ways. But it was actually Rhea Ripley that played the biggest and most decisive role in the end. Literally body slamming Gallows, a dude that's around 300 pounds. Fucking big badass Gallows, man. She picked him up with such ease. Slammed this son of a bitch on the outside mat. I mean, come on. And then delivered a low blow to Karl Anderson, which left him to be easy pickings for Finn Balor to take the W over Anderson. But again, it was all set up by Rhea Ripley. So with everybody around ringside, from the OC to, Gallows, Styles, and then everybody in Judgment Day, it was Rhea Ripley that just took matters into her own hands, man. She took the match, the segment, the show, put it on her back, and then took fucking Gallows and put her on her fucking shoulders. It just said, no, I'm running this now. Rhea Ripley is becoming a massive superstar right in front of our eyes. And it's going to be incredible when her and Beth Phoenix collide. I hope it's one-on-one eventually. I think there's going to be a tag match, obviously. Probably Dominic and Rhea versus Edge and Beth. I don't know if it's going to be Finn and Rhea. That would be a bigger match, you would think. But Dominic and Rhea seems to be the tandem. So maybe that's what they want to do to really hype up Dominic. And it's an easy loss for Edge to pin Dominic in this mixed tag match, too. No harm, no foul. Nobody really wins there. Dominic's still so young. It's fucking Edge. And the fans, we get to see Beth and Rhea. But I hope at one point we get to see one-on-one, man, Beth and Rhea. Because the way they're pumping up Rhea, and we know how badass and big Beth is, it's just a collision waiting to happen. But man, this was so so well done. That body slam is going to be on Rhea's highlight reel to the end of time. And for anybody that goes, oh, Gallows looks like such an idiot, such a joke from this. Guys, first of all, this is one of those scenarios where the positive outweighs the negative. What this does for Rhea far outweighs anything else. I'm sure Gallows will tell you 100 times out of 100 chances to tell you, he would say he would do that immediately again to help out somebody like Rhea. Gallows has been in this business years and years and years. He'll be the first to say he's got more years behind him than he has in front of him career-wise. So he would be more than happy to do that. And he played it beautifully. And then the comedy we got in the back in a few segments later at the end of hour one was just gold. It was just Gallows at his best. Tex Ferguson from Southpaw Regional Wrestling, if you guys remember that. I mean, this is just this dude at his best. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Again, now match time was nearly 16 minutes. Was that too long? I don't know how you guys feel about that. Watching at home, did you guys think a Karl Anderson 16-minute match is too much? The crowd, they did. They weren't necessarily in for that. Maybe we could have done that in 10 minutes. It's one of those things where beggars can't be choosers. They gave them time to perform, which is something we've been asking for years. And then when we get it, it's kind of like, oh, too long. You got to find the median. You got to find that middle line where the right opponents should get more time. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. Bianca and Bayley last night. Absolutely. You tell me you're going to give them 20 plus minutes? Let's rock. You tell me Balor and Anderson, while they have history, former BC members, Balor creating the group, and Anderson still really living that BC moniker still to this day. I mean, there's the history, there's the story, we get it, but do they need to go over 15 minutes? I had the beholder. I don't know. I think there's times for shorter matches. There's times for the longer ones. You have to just know the scenario, know the situation, know your superstars. This is the best I can tell you. But there's room for both. Not every match should be over 15 minutes. Not even over 10 minutes, to be honest with you guys. The shows are to set up the pay-per-views. They should be. Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, their main goal should be to set up the culminating matches at the pay-per-view. The shows, Raw and SmackDown, should be to culminate storylines. Not culminate, that's the matches. That's where they should culminate at the pay-per-view. They should be to start the journey, have the whole car ride, and then by the time you got to the pay-per-view, you could pull into the lot because you've reached your destination. But the storylines should be evolving, that's the word, not culminating, evolving during the shows every week. And when you hit the pay-per-view, that's when we see banger after banger. Hopefully with a lot more storyline than just moves. Wrestling is based more on just wrestling moves. But the storylines is what we're lacking more of. So I understand people want to see longer matches. There's a lot of people that want to see more storyline. Well, the good news is we can have the best of both worlds. There should be a lot more storytelling on the shows with a couple of matches that are more than 15 and even 20 minutes long on every show. Just a couple, though. Every other match, not so much. And then at the pay-per-view, you give 6 or 7 matches. There should only be 6 or 7 good matches on a card. 8, you're kind of stretching it. And each match should get 15 to 25 minutes up front at least. I mean, that's your perfect scenario. That's the greatest setup that I can tell you guys. But when you have a night where you're just throwing everybody 20-minute matches, I don't, and there's no care to them, right? Most of these matches are just being set up 4 minutes earlier before we went to commercial. Wrestlers just walk by each other. They have a little bit of a beef and they're like, I'll see you in the ring. All right, I accept. We go to commercial, we come back, and now we have a 20 minutes of, I don't know, Elias versus Chad Gable, Which on paper I really don't mind because I respect these dudes so much, but there's no care to the match. So anyway, that's where I'll put the stamp there on Judgment Day's Finn Balor versus Anderson. I thought it was well done. Yes, I agree. A couple minutes less would not have hurt anybody, especially Charlotte, North Carolina. Moving on, Miz. And again, Rhea Ripley's going to be the big story anyway. So that's what I mean about no harm, no foul. Because what Rhea did there, man, that's going to be on her highlight reel forever. Again, Miz up next. Camera was on Dale Earnhardt Jr. as USA Network is trying to cross-promote their NASCAR audience with their pro wrestling audience because they now hold NASCAR via NBC Universal. So, you know, they had a bunch of NASCAR drivers there. Dale Earnhardt Jr. BC was a big Earnhardt fan, and Earnhardt Jr., there's just one problem. Earnhardt Jr. just did not know how to win races like his father. So, I mean, it was so hard to be a Dale Jr. fan. So anyway, they're mixing these audiences last night, and Miz says, all right, this is a quote, by the way. All right, take that camera off of Dale Earnhardt Jr. I can beat you in a race with my Tesla. I got a little pop from BC. That was kind of funny. Just thinking about Miz and a Tesla trying to race Dale Earnhardt Jr. We get an exchange between Miz and Johnny Gargano. Then R-Truth comes out, full rap entrance, guys. So it's been a while since we've seen the full entrance for R-Truth. There was a mom in the front row while Truth was rapping. And he goes over to this mom, this white mother. Or maybe she's not a mother. Maybe she has a pet, so she is a mother. But this little bit older, not old, but older white woman in the crowd, front row. And she's rapping every lyric of R-Truth's entrance song, and I mean every lyric, and BC is like, I don't even know the words. But she's over there like, who know? I know. I love it when you make your knees touch your elbows and bring it down low into the floor, and there you go. And every time I bust a rhyme, baby, give me some more. I said I like that when I hit it from behind, and I'll be right back. Yeah, that's my very best line. I use it time after time when I'm spitting my rhymes. They asked me who that is talking that shit about to click somebody up. I don't know, man. That was old school Nelly. That was not R-Truth, guys. I don't know what the fuck made me bust out old school Nelly, dude. I used to know every lyric to all of that dude's songs. Don't ask. I don't even know why. Me and the boys would get together. We'd pound some cold drinks, and Nelly was just our jam back then. Anyway, it might as well have been fucking Nelly because this woman in the front row, this older white woman, she was just down with every word. And BC was like, damn, she's over here spitting. Anyway, so we get the whole entrance from R-Truth. And Johnny is threatening to blow his whistle. That sounds horrible, but literally, he has a whistle. And he's threatening the Miz by blowing the whistle. And Truth is upset that Miz disrespected North Carolina's macaroni and cheese. So I have no clue what's really happening here. This was an attempt to be funny for the live crowd, especially, because there was a lot of North Carolina references and their macaroni and cheese. And it just didn't land, right? I don't know if it did for you at home, but for Charlotte, it just didn't land. I mean, you got the little pop every time you mentioned Charlotte, North Carolina and their macaroni and cheese, but the comedy was not there. And you got a dude threatening to blow a whistle. This dude's talking about fucking being pissed off because of his macaroni and cheese, and this is all revolving around the Miz. So I don't understand how much care you expected an audience to have. I have no clue. This leads to a one-on-one between Miz and R-Truth after a commercial break. And as far as Miz versus Truth, this was a short match, probably for the best. Miz thinks he sees Dexter Lumis in the crowd, but it's just Gargano, Johnny Gargano front row, in a black hoodie, and Dexter's gloves are on. So the distraction allows Truth to hit the awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating Faroot roll-up on the Miz, 1, 2, 3. R-Truth not just has a match that doesn't have anything to do with the 24/7 title or Tory Championship, but he actually wins this match. It's by the roll-up. It's the same way he's been winning fucking matches the last 2 years. But at least it's different. Now, the thing that BC would have changed is the entrance. I know that's gonna, BC, that's R-Truth. That's the whole gimmick, man, his entrance. Well, if you're really going to give this guy another chance away from the 24/7 bullshit and really make people believe that this dude is somebody we should care about, somebody that actually could make a dent in the company and not just be a joke. Because we love R-Truth and we know he's comedy gold if put in the right situations. I mean, the last 2 years I couldn't laugh too much because it was just, the segments were just so bad, and you can't even blame R-Truth. He tried to do the best, man. He tried to turn chicken salad out of chicken shit. He just couldn't do it. But if you really want to make him believable to us and get us invested, then I believe that a new presentation had to be presented to us. And all I saw was the old school R-Truth. It's almost like, for some of these guys, H is just doing the same thing that Vince already did for him. All right, we're just going to do the old school R-Truth. We're just going to do the old school Elias. Just grow your beard back. I have nothing for you. Just become Elias again. I'd rather him than Ezekiel, I'll tell you that much. Ash, just go back to Cross. Again, that I'm way more in favor of than Ash. But for some of these people, it's just like, I don't have a new direction per se. Let's just go back. Sometimes that works, like a Cross, and hopefully Elias. And sometimes for R-Truth, I think, man, we should have came with a little bit different of a presentation. Because it's still coming off as hokey for a lot of people. Man, as much as I love R-Truth, even for BC, a little bit hokey. Now, if you're asking the mother in the front row, the white woman in the front row, she's fucking like, fuck you, Beasley! I fucking love this R-Truth. Listen up, Beasley, I'm gonna sing you the whole song. Alright, anyway. And again, I already went over. That was a fruit roll-up, 1, 2, 3. So, the roll-ups are back under Triple H's guide as well. Hour 1 ends with Bayley and Damage Control confronting Candice LeRae backstage. And this was a good beatdown segment where Bayley shoves the cameraman down so the camera just lands on the floor. And you just hear the beatdown as we fade black into a commercial. Love it. That's different. Damage Control being a little bit more ruthless. In fact, they're not even just trying to get accolades for beating people up, right? They would want the camera on and so the world could see that, and they want accolades. No, they just want to take care of business, right? They don't care who's... In fact, they'd rather you not watch. Get the fuck out of the room while we beat the shit out of this person, right? They shove the camera down. They don't want you viewing it. They're just going to take care of business and move on. That's cool to BC. That little detail is actually major to the Amplified man. So that was very cool way to end our number 1. And different, right? A different type of beatdown. Get that camera out of here. Hour number 2, our deuce starts with Ali versus Austin Theory. Seth Rollins is on commentary. The crowd didn't give a shit about this match. Bottom line. The crowd was already asleep by that point anyway, and if they weren't, they were in a sound sleep by the time this match was over. At one point, they were singing Seth's chorus even. And it literally just singing Seth Rollins' chorus. Now, this is a heel on commentary why this guy Ali is finally getting an opportunity that everybody claimed they wanted, and they couldn't give a fuck that Ali was in the ring. Theory defeats Ali. That had to happen, guys. Theory has the briefcase. So as much as people are like, oh man, it's start and stop for Ali, and what the fuck are they doing with this guy? And, it looks like he's about to have momentum. I totally hear you. But this is a botched booking decision to even have them in the ring because neither can really lose. And if one could lose more than the other, it's Ali because Theory should not be. Theory's already lost a couple of several, I should say, not a couple. Several big matches or bigger on Raws that he can't afford anymore. It comes a time where you got to treat this guy like he has the briefcase. Like he's a legit threat that at any time he wants to cash in, it's a real possibility that he could get the championship. If you have this guy just looking like an idiot every week and losing every other match, some consecutively, by the time he comes down the aisle to cash in, people are going to be like, oh, it's fucking Theory. This is going to be adorable. Watch him try to cash in. On the flip side, if you have this guy looking legit, by the time he cashes in, we're going to go, fuck, this could happen. So I know, people are mixed on that, but Theory had to win this match, man. Post-match, Seth Rollins annihilates Ali. 90 seconds later, Ali comes out of nowhere, attacks Rollins, and annihilates him. It's so weird. Ali's turning into like Super Cena every time he gets beat up the last few weeks. Looks like Ali is absolutely decimated, and then after 90 seconds, he's right back up no-selling the shit. Very odd what they're doing here, but they're just trying to give Ali a big match for Saudi Arabia. I get it. And expect him to lose that match, and then where does Ali go from there? I have no idea. Omos versus 4 residents from Jobberville. We all know the good town of Jobberville. These were 4 residents. Highly distinguished residents of Jobberville, by the way. They're looked up to by many of the Jobberville townies. They found themselves up against one massive Omos last night. A couple of funny moments here. There was one moment where Omos put his fist to one of the dudes. His fist was literally the size of this guy's face. And this guy, he was just like, I mean, his eyes were fucking bulging out like, I don't know. I was going to say a joke, but no, inappropriate, BC. No, cut that out. We're going to cut that. I'll do a little bit more PG version of it, man. His eyes were bulging out of his dome piece as if he just saw Sable out of her potato sack. And she had those printed hands over her magnificent how you don'ts. Anybody remember Sable? The potato sack that Mark Marrow tried to keep her in? And then there was the moment where Sable just had her beautiful booyaka-booyakas just hanging out for the world to see. The only thing cover them was like painted hands over them. And this was when WWF was much more risky, so they showed that shit. And man, if you were a teenager back, we were like, what the fuck? I can't. I don't want dinner, Ma. I'm gonna just rewind this all night. This dude's eyes were like, whoa. Unfortunately for him, it was not a good thing. It was not Sable. It was fucking Omos' fist. So that was funny. And then there was another moment where MVP asks these 4 dudes if they have a good health insurance plan, which is both ironic and hilarious, given the fact that Vince McMahon would never give health insurance to his wrestlers. You want a 401k? That's adorable. You want actual real health insurance? That's adorable. You want to unionize? That's adorable. It's never gonna happen. You want to try to unionize? You're fired. Ask Jesse the Body Ventura what happens when you try to create the union. But I will say that it got a laugh out of BC. Do you guys have health insurance? They're in WWE, man. Of course they don't. Within 60 seconds, 4 bodies were scattered around the canvas, defeated and decimated by the Nigerian giant. Now, a lot of people are, complaining, oh my God, another Omos squash match. Guys, to be honest, this was a couple of minutes. No harm, no foul. In fact, if you think about moments from last night, anything that you're going to remember, or anything you actually laughed about, or any visual that really resonated, it's that fist to that dude's dome piece. Am I right? I mean, that's one of those captured moments from last night that you'll see all over social media. There'll be fucking memes about it and shit. I mean, this is just one of those things that resonates. So you can complain all you want about it, but it was one of the only segments that really got everybody universally talking. And on top of that, when you saw the visual of 4 bodies scattered around while Omos is just like standing there and MVP is like, damn, this is a fucking war zone. Those are images that you step back and you go, yeah, this was pretty effective for our 2 minutes of our time. We claim, listen, either get something for Omos or just call it a day with the dude. It just didn't work. Now, maybe when it's all said and done, it doesn't work as a whole, but at least they're trying here with him and Strowman. I thought it was a pretty decent segment Friday. That push was very believable. He takes a step back. Strowman took it like a legit push from a giant that's even bigger than him. The way he went out of the ring, I thought it was really good. And then there was the smirk. He didn't bother getting back in the fight. He just had this smirk like, all right, I'm getting a feel on you, man. I'll bring it right back to you when the time is right, Crown Jewel. And MVP is backing up Omos. I thought that was a really well done segment Friday. In the squash match with now 4 individuals, 4 residents from Jobberville, I had zero issue with that. I'm not saying that I need to see Omos on my screen. I'm not saying I'm an Omos fan. I'm not saying this is immaculate booking and immaculate television, guys. Trust me. But if this is one of the things you're harping on out of the 3 hours, I mean, that's kind of stretching. That's reaching. Because this was a no harm, no foul situation. And it created, again, some damn good images and funny moments, man. For sure. Moving on, Elias versus Chad Gable. Elias is a full throttle face now, slapping high fives with fans. It's a bit awkward to see, not gonna bullshit. And I can't say that that's something that BC is down with. I mean, it's gonna take time to really accept Elias as a face. It's gonna come down to the booking, and if this works. And his music has to change, especially if he's going to be a face, guys. His music has to change. There is no energy associated with his theme music. But basically, he sings it. Basically, that's his personal music. I don't give a shit. It absolutely, it sucks. There's no other way to say it, guys. Listen to the crowd. I mean, it's crickets. I mean, you could literally hear a pin drop. Especially if this dude's going to be a face. You have to have more energy. You just have to have more energy somehow in that theme music. As for the Academy, because this was Elias versus Chad Gable, my question is, why does Otis still not have his personality back? You know, there's people getting their last names back. There's people getting their identities back, like Elias. Why does Otis not have his personality back, especially with Gable taking on a more comedic persona? Let Otis rock with him, is what BC says. He's a tree trunk, all right. I'll tell you that much. Personality-wise, he's a tree trunk. He just stands in one place, and everybody just goes right by him. The world passes him by. The exact definition of a tree trunk. Stays in place, and everybody just walks by. Well, that's Otis. Because everybody's bypassing the guy. Nobody gives a shit about Otis, and this guy's actually funny, and he has talent. Vince McMahon muzzled this dude, verbally and physically muzzled this dude to where he could not have a personality and speak anymore. And on top of that, he muzzled his talent. I mean, I remember this guy was doing that, for his size, he was doing the fucking, the worm, right? He was doing the W-O-R-M, the old Scotty 2 Hottie. And he was, his promos, they were funny. He was showing you personality, but in the ring, he was whooping ass. He collected the Money in the Bank briefcase, and then Vince just changed his mind. Took the briefcase from him, put it on The Miz. Didn't even have a cash-in attempt. Just took it off of him, gave it to The Miz. Took him out of the main roster, brought him back to NXT, said he needs to change. Brought him back, and he just mean mugs now. While Gable is the comedy. They could work so well together if you just give this guy his personality back. Anyway, that's a side rant, but it's something that's been bugging me, and this is the time to put it out there to the forefront. Elias defeats Gable. Kind of had to happen. I mean, if you're going to put on a match like this, where both shouldn't be losing, it becomes a game of who needs the W more. Elias just got back. But damn. I mean, how many more L's can Gable take before people are going to start to not take him seriously? And that's a shame because Gable's so fucking good. Post-match, Riddle scooters his ass to the ring, literally. I mean, he's just scootering really fast. He doesn't run to the ring. He stays on his scooter because the Academy post-match jumps the winner, Elias. So his new best buddy there, fucking Riddle, man, if you're ever in need of a friend, right? If you're ever in need of something, you're in a dire situation and you need somebody to help you. I hope it's not Matt Riddle that you're depending on, because this dude is scooting his way to the fucking ring. He fends off the attack by the Academy and he helps out his new best friend, man, Elias. You can tell how that friendship's gonna go, man. Every night they'll be in Elias's apartment. Elias is on the guitar giving a little solo concert for Riddle. Riddle's smoking his fucking how you doing, and he's fucking playing his fucking bongos. He's doing something with his bongos. And fucking, it's gonna, you can already tell, man. They're just replacing Randy Orton. They put in Elias. And now we're going to have this type of comedy thing with Riddle and Elias. Man, I hope this works, because I did not like Randy Orton and Riddle at all. At least this will be a less whiny Riddle, right? Riddle with Orton, it was just that Riddle was a stepchild and Randy Orton was the father, the stepdad. I mean, that's literally what Riddle said, right? One day my dad went off to get milk and he never came back. He was like, Randy, don't ever leave me. Randy, I love you. And I'm like, what is going on here, man? Who is this benefiting? Well, basically, this will put extra years on Randy's career if he tag teams with Riddle. Yeah, how did that work out? The guy may never fight. His back injury is so bad, there's not even a timetable for his return. That was tag matches with Riddle, bro. Randy Orton should have one last big run with WWE as that diabolical heel, that kind of legend killer type of character. The literal Viper. Not just in these comedy segments with Riddle, so we can all get 420 shirts. Or Randy purple shirts. I mean, I hope the merchandise was really good to keep that tag team around for so long. Anyway, now it's Elias and Riddle, and I can't say BC is too thrilled at this, man. Crowd was so out of this match, by the way. I do have to say that, and I can't blame them. I am very high on Elias, Gable, and Otis, but this is not it. This just wasn't it. Hour 2 ends backstage in the trainer's room, where Anderson is... I love it, just thinking about it. Anderson is sitting there with an ice pack on his balls from Rhea's nut shot earlier in the night. Gallows tells AJ Styles he'll take care of Rhea Ripley. Styles says, but she body slammed you. How are you going to take care of her? Gallows says, body slams are my love language. I'll take care of Rhea. And he walks off. We go to commercial break. When we come back from commercial, Gallows hobbles into the trainer's room holding his sack. And Styles says, did she get you too? And Gallows goes, she got me too. And Gallows sits down next to Anderson and rips the ice pack from him and puts it on his fucking balls instead. And AJ Styles goes, we have a Rhea problem. And Gallows goes, we have a Rhea problem. Come on, bro. If you didn't laugh at that, dude. Fucking spectacular, man. Absolutely spectacular, man. Salute to Gallows. I mean, that literally popped BC, man. That was an LOL moment for sure, personified. Fucking badass. It's so funny, man. I just text Ferguson, man. Southpaw Regional Wrestling. I mean, that's how funny this dude is. That is comedy gold. And that took us out of hour number 2. Hour number 3 starts off with Johnny Gargano, Johnny Wrestling versus Baron Corbin. JBL is on commentary. The crowd, as was the theme of the night, was completely asleep for this match. Just the way that was. The best part was Kevin Patrick on commentary calling Corbin's Deep Six the ring around the rosies. He's got the ring around the rosies. He called the Deep Six ring around the rosies. Who the fuck even says ring around the rosies in 2022? Is that even still a thing with kids? I don't know. Maybe in Ireland it is. I don't know, man. I should know. Those are my people. I'm 50% Irish as it is. Well, a little bit more Italian, but I still got to give respect to my Irish peeps. But ring around the rosies for Deep Six. Are you kidding me, bro? What in the world? I kid you not. JBL and Corey Graves proceeded to annihilate this dude, man. They gave him hell for it. I think it was JBL who said, where'd you learn to commentate? Sesame Street? It was great, bro. It was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, Kevin Patrick is so bad that it's actually funny. And I like the dude. That's not shade, man. I know that sounds so horrible. He's really good at interviewing backstage. I like the dude. And there's definitely a place for him. And I hope he keeps his job for a very long time. Maybe not that job, though. On commentary, this dude is rough. By the main event, if you listened, Corey Graves was basically calling the entire main event. Corey Graves had to pretty much become a one-man show. And every now and again, Patrick would jump in with a line or two. It's bad, but it's funny at least. He came up the ring around the rosies. And fucking Graves is like, did you just call the Deep Six ring around the rosies? And they cut to JBL's face. JBL's like, where the fuck did you come from? How did you get this job? They got to do something about Raw commentary, man. I'm not saying you're ever going to get Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler back in the Attitude Era, like that type of power couple, that power tandem in the prime of their commentary days, but like, or for Jim, yeah, I'm still going to call it prime. I mean, the Attitude Era was the best Jim Ross on commentary. It was an electricity that Jim Ross brought, and Jerry Lawler was just a man. Puppies! I'm not saying you're ever going to get that again. It was a different time anyway. You never really could. But you got to do something better. Corey Graves is holding his end of the bargain. By giving him Jimmy Smith, you are putting more work on Corey Graves because he's got to be that much better because Jimmy Smith sucked. By giving him Kevin Patrick, I like Kevin Patrick, but he's not for this job, and you're putting more pressure onto Corey Graves. Corey Graves deserves better than this. Byron Saxton was the one bright spot for Corey Graves because he worked so well off of him, treating Byron as the massive nerd that Byron Saxton's character portrays, right? That's why we love Byron Saxton. He's the Carlton Banks of WWE. And he works so well off of Corey Graves. Byron knows the game. He knows that every time he's insulted by Corey, it's for the betterment of the commentary. It's for the betterment of the show. It's for a good laugh. Everybody's playing their roles beautifully. It's fun. They took away Byron. They insert Patrick, and now Corey Graves is fucking up Shit's Creek without a paddle. It's not fair to Corey Graves. Anyway, that was just fucking hilarious and sad at the same time. Deep Six is now the ring around the rosies. Gargano starts dancing with the JBL's cowboy hat on the commentary table. Some people thought that was funny. If you're BC, yeah. Gargano is hilarious, and he'll show you in storylines he can carry comedy. I'm not a fan of this whistle shit. I'm not a fan of the comedy that Gargano is doing as of late. The cowboy hat shit, I could have personally done without that, but okay, if you got a laugh out of it, that's all that matters, I guess. As long as WWE's putting smiles on your face. So Gargano starts dancing with the JBL's cowboy hat. JBL gets pissed, takes out Johnny Wrestling. The ref doesn't see it. Corbin hits his end of days. Not Red Rover, come over. It's not the Twister, Kevin Patrick. It's end of days. And Gargano is defeated 1, 2, 3 flat on his back, man. Corbin wins the match over Gargano. The crowd didn't even move or make a sound when the bell rang. I'm going to say that again. The crowd did not move or make a sound when Corbin defeated Gargano. That's not good. That's not good at all, guys. That's actually bad. I understand you're giving Corbin a 7th big push because the first 6 failed miserably, and there's still no connection with the crowd, so you need him to win. But why Gargano would be my question. On a show where R-Truth is picking up W's, Gargano has to lose to Corbin? Why even put Gargano in that position then? This is just wrong, right? We all can, I hope, agree on this. This is wrong. It's just wrong. So very wrong. And it did nothing for Gargano. You say no harm, no foul, but you're not even portraying him. Even in the match alone, even if you say, okay, the finish, maybe we can get past that because Gargano is so good, BC. But so you would at least hope that the match portrayed the strengths, the attributes that Johnny can deliver in a positive way. Not the case. This was more of a Baron Corbin type of wrestling match than it was a Johnny Gargano wrestling match. And if you know what I mean, you know what I mean, right? It's one of those situations. I mean, you know a Johnny wrestling match. It's a clinic. And you know a Baron Corbin WWE match. This was way more Baron Corbin. The style, the type of seesaw match, the dancing with a cowboy hat, the entertainment that was involved in the match. So I don't know how any of this did anything positive for Johnny Gargano. I don't. And if you need Baron Corbin to pick up a W, I understand. I just don't what I do not understand at all, because it's just wrong, is Johnny Gargano already eating a nonsensical pin on a Monday Night Raw. I mean, for the casual audience that doesn't really know Johnny wrestling, first of all, I feel bad for that audience. Because damn, you missed years of a really good career. But now you're not even giving them a reason to give a fuck. I mean, Baron Corbin beat him on a Monday Night Raw in a match less than 10 fucking minutes. I could go another hour. When I saw that, I was mind-boggled, guys. Mind-boggled. Main event was Bayley versus Bianca Belair. Again, this went nearly 25 fucking minutes. They gave them the whole last half an hour with entrances and all that. Good match. Belair kicks out of a Bayley to belly from the second rope. At that point, Bay was like, fuck this. Get her, gals. And Io and Dakota go to put Belair through a commentary table, but Belair battles back, regains the upper hand. The ref has enough of Damage Control's interference, jumps out to the outside to do the whole, you're out. I love when the ref does that, man. The wind up and they're fucking kicked out. Well, he jumped to the outside to do it. Usually they just do it from the inside, but there was a reason. There was a body that you could see a humanoid up at the top of the post about to jump onto all three, Dakota, Io, and the referee. And sure enough, here comes a flying crossbody by a mystery woman. Takes out everybody, Damage Control and the ref. And at that point, was it Bayley first? Yeah, she gets into the ring, this mystery person, and she takes out Belair, actually. So she takes out Belair. Referee Jess then hits the ring. Love referee Jess, by the way. One of my favorite referees in the biz. She hits the ring just in time to count Bayley, covering Bianca 1, 2, 3. Bayley collects a massive W. I can't stand champions taking L's before they lose their title. And this match is only going to lead to them at Crown Jewel, I believe. Or just another championship match either way. And because Bianca just lost, doesn't that mean that Bianca's going to retain? So is that setting up what we were all kind of fearing? Charlotte Flair to come back and be the one to take Belair's championship. I really hope that's not the case, but I've been telling you guys that this has been on the table for more than a month now. I think I'm the only one in the community telling you guys the truth. That's on the table. I'm hoping it doesn't happen. But I'm trying to prepare you guys because it could be the case where they're not giving the title to Bayley. I hope that's not. But Bayley defeats Belair. And in one aspect of this, I'm glad it wasn't the stereotypical, Alexa and Asuka come down and we're still doing the same 6 women feuding. They did it with Nikki Cross. Because after Bayley won this match, this mystery person gets back in the ring and starts hammering down on Bayley now. So now she's taking everybody out. Doesn't matter if you're a face or a heel. She's beating the shit out of Bayley. And she's revealed to be Nikki Cross. The return of old school, batshit crazy Nikki. And if you know, you know, man. That's the best version. So this is a breath of fresh air. It's a renewal in her career. And it's a chance, at least a chance, for all of us to start giving a fuck about her yet again. Yeah. Holla motherfucking Luya is what BC says, seeing Nikki Cross. I'll put the cherry on top of that. I could probably go another half an hour. How good. We've been clamoring for that for the longest time. Still, there's a lot of people going, oh, that didn't connect for me, BC. That was a wrong time to debut her, BC. It was, we're going to nitpick this and dissect it anyway. This is one of those situations where let's take it one day at a time, one seg at a time with this type of thing because we finally got what we've been clamoring for, right? We can bitch, moan, and complain later if the booking is sour. But for right now, we got what we wanted. We already knew Bayley had to win this match. Somehow. It's unfortunate. Champion has to lose. But this is what they booked. We've already complained about that. You know, now it's about how do you finish this shit. Well, this is pretty damn original, and this is a huge way for Bianca to save face. And the biggest benefit is to Nikki Cross. And by proxy, all of us as well. Kevin Patrick says, here's Kevin Patrick again. This was funny. Kevin Patrick says, I've never seen this side of Nikki before. And Graves says, I have. I'm like, there's Corey, like, looking at Kevin. Like, Kevin Patrick's like, I never saw this side of Nikki before. And Corey Graves instantly just responds with, well, I have. And I'm like, has Kevin never watched NXT? Has Kevin never seen Nikki Cross in NXT? I mean, how have you never seen this crazy side of Nikki? That's, like, what is Kevin Patrick? Maybe he's just under the pressure of this new job and he's under a microscope. Thank goodness he wasn't working directly under Vince McMahon. Kevin Patrick would literally run away during the show. You'd see him during a fucking Elias Chad Gable match. He'd be running up to the Section 300 trying to get out of the building. I don't even know. Sometimes I wonder, does Patrick even watch the product? It's Nikki Cross doing the ring around the rosies. Baron Corbin's move. And we end the show with the hard cam directly on the face of Nikki Cross, not Ash. Fade to black. Show goes off the air. Again, when it was all said and done, such a mixed bag of reactions, right? A lot of people going, this show as a whole just did not connect, man. It was not entertaining enough. The flow was off. The placement. The crowd completely dead. The crowd was just done from the opening bell. And we fed off that energy or lack thereof. So a lot of things. And I understand, man, it was a long 3 hours, no doubt. It was not one of their best shows. But ironically, a lot of positives. So that's the good news. We just hope that the show as a whole can be more electric going forward while having a lot of positives. Can we get we need to get the whole bag together. Right? I feel like only half the bag is filled on these Monday nights now, right? We get half of something really good. The other half is like, can we just get the whole show to come together? That's what we're still waiting for. Anyway, that's the show, guys. I kept you here long enough. That probably went well over an hour, but there's a lot to discuss. Discuss? I think that's an I, not an E, BC. Anyway, that's what I got for you guys, man. The Amplified, man. Top guy. Until next time, check you later. Think, be, live, amplified.